Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. Welcome to this preview with Cameron from the Mighty Blues, and this is to preview the Everton versus City game at the Etihad, which kicks off tomorrow evening. So what we do as usual is we send each other some questions, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you over to Cameron from the Mighty Blues, and he's going to answer my questions.
Hello everyone on Man City Fan TV. My name is Cameron. I run the Everton fan channel, The Mighty Blues. And Andy has kindly asked me to come on and give a little bit of an oppositional preview ahead of the New Year's Day fixture between Manchester City and Everton at the Etihad Stadium. A game that, listen, 4 or 5 weeks ago I'd have been absolutely dreading, but now I'm actually feeling a little bit confident looking on your recent form and your recent results have went, and also our recent form obviously under new manager Carlo Ancelotti. I'm actually quite looking forward to this game and I'm quite optimistic as well. Andy had asked me a number of questions that I'm going to go through and answer just to give you a little bit of an insight into Everton Football Club ahead of the fixture on New Year's Day. The first question is, after 15 games you were 18th on 14 points, having just lost 3 games. Fast forward 5 games, you were 10th in 20 with 25 points on the back of 2 wins under Carlo Ancelotti. Where can you realistically finish this season? I personally think we can realistically finish in the top 6. You only have to look at the Premier League table. We're currently 6 points away from 5th position. We are also 7 points away from 18th as well. So that's how sort of close it is this season in the Premier League. You're only ever a couple of wins away from being right up there, or a couple of losses away from being back down there. So personally, I think we can finish as high as 6th, maybe even potentially 5th if we carry on going in the vein that we're going. Obviously, we've got 2 real good wins against Burnley and Newcastle in Carlo Ancelotti's first 2 games. We're coming up against you guys on New Year's Day, so it'll be a big test, obviously coming up against the champions at their home ground. We've then got Liverpool in the FA Cup. That'll be a big test as well, but obviously isn't a league game. And then if we can continue to pick up points in the game that we realistically should be picking up points in, like the games against your Newcastles and your Burnleys, then I realistically think we can climb the table, especially when teams around us seem to be losing points. You like your Arsenals, who lost against Chelsea and still don't seem to have gone off to a great start under Mikel Arteta, and other teams as well that are around us that are losing week in, week out. So personally, I think we can finish as high as 6th. However, realistically, I'll probably say maybe 8th. And the second question is, what's Ancelotti brought to the team since he has arrived? Simple one, really, a winning mentality, and the mentality of a serial winner. Somebody that comes in, knows how to win games of football, and isn't afraid when you go 1-0 down, or isn't afraid when you're on the back foot for 20 minutes. And we've seen that in the game against Newcastle last weekend. Obviously, we were dominant for the first 20 minutes of the first half, and then Newcastle started to come into their own in the last 20 minutes of the first half, and it would have been very easy going into half-time for Carlo Ancelotti to say, listen, we're away from home, let's stick 11 men behind the ball and play out for the draw. But he didn't. He made the lads go out and calm the game down, bring it down to the pace that we wanted it at, and ultimately we went on to win the game. So it's that winning mentality of a manager that's been there and won it all. He's won the league in 4 out of the top 5 leagues in world football, Champions Leagues 3 times, world's best coach 2 times. So it's that experience and that know how to win that he's definitely brought to Everton Football Club. Third question, is any player stood out since he's arrived? I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin's a very easy pick. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was in really good form under Duncan Ferguson, to be fair to him, but definitely since Carlo Ancelotti's arrived, 3 goals in 2 games for him. Absolutely fantastic performance against Newcastle, and a really good header to win us the game against Burnley. So he is definitely a standout one. Moise Kean, I think, is another interesting one. Obviously didn't quite work with Marco Silva, didn't quite have that relationship with him. Had the little stint where he was taken off against Manchester United after only being on for 18 minutes, but then started against Newcastle and really looked bright. He looked impressive. He looked like he had a point to prove, and he worked hard. Similar with Richarlison as well, very similarly, who has worked as absolute cojones off for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Jibril Sidibe as well as another player that seems to have come on strides. Not necessarily since Carlo Ancelotti's come in, because it's only been a couple of games, so it's hard to judge, but definitely since Marco Silva's left the club and obviously Duncan Ferguson took over on an interim basis. Andy asks my predicted start 11 for the game against Manchester City. I'm going to go with the same start 11 actually played against Burnley, so it will be Jordan Pickford in goal. Not the same start 11 I played against Burnley, a little bit different. Jordan Pickford in goal, Luca Dean at left back, Mason Holgate and Yerry Mina in the centre of the defence, Seamus Coleman at right back, Jibril Sidibe in the right of midfield. I'm going to go with Bernard on the left of midfield. I'll go with Gylfi Sigurdsson and Tom Davies through the centre. Yeah, I'll go with Gylfi Sigurdsson and Fabian Delph through the centre, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up front. And Andy finally asks, who do I fear from Manchester City, and my score prediction for the game as well. Listen, again, despite the fact that you're on in fantastic form, despite the fact that you may have struggled this season, there's still a absolute plethora of world-class players that you've got there. The likes of, obviously, Gabriel Jesus, Sergio Aguero, who's the standout one, isn't he? Let's be perfectly honest. David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. So if I had to pick one, it probably would be Kevin De Bruyne. And a score prediction, listen, I think a realistic aim goal of mine, I'd probably say 1-1 or maybe a 2-2, but being positive, I'm going to go with a 2-1. I do really think Everton are in good form, obviously, off the bounce of Carlo Ancelotti coming in, 2 really, really good wins. Yourselves have struggled at times, especially at home this season, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw to be realistic. Now, the questions I want to ask Andy are as followed. Firstly, what's gone wrong this season? Secondly, the effect of losing Mikel Arteta, obviously, to Arsenal. Thirdly, which Everton player do you fear the most? Fourthly, your realistic goals for this season now, and have they changed since the start of the season? And finally, a score prediction. Just want to say a big thanks for Andy for letting me come on the channel and give my little oppositional preview ahead of the game tomorrow afternoon. Big thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed and you want to see more of us, we can be found at The Mighty Blues on YouTube. Once again, a big thanks to Andy for letting me come on. Give the video a like, give it a subscribe as well. Subscribe to Man City Fan TV. If you enjoyed this content, come over and subscribe to The Mighty Blues as well. Big thanks for watching, and yeah, I'd say good luck for the game, but I don't wish you luck. Come on, you Blues.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Cameron. Really appreciate you coming on the channel, mate. Now, if you want to go over and follow Cameron, and if you are an Evertonian, or even if you're a football fan, go over and follow him. It's at Mighty Blues YT on Twitter, or follow him on his YouTube channel. But his questions, as he's just read out to me, to answer. So the first one is, what's gone wrong this season? I'll be honest with you, mate. I think it's a multitude of things. Obviously, injuries have really taken a massive toll on the team. If we start off with Aymeric Laporte, probably one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League, if not Europe. Losing him is massive. He is back in training now, but we've gone through half the season without him. But hopefully he'll be back by maybe the end of January. Fingers crossed. We lost Leroy Sané in the Community Shield. Another massive loss where, forget the whole, is he leaving, is he not? Still a huge miss to the club, and brings something completely different to the team. So we missed those 2 players. We've had injuries to David Silva. We've had injuries to Sergio Aguero. Kevin De Bruyne has had his injuries. We've also had Ben Mendy, who was out and has come back and then is flipped in and out. Then now Alexander Zinchenko, who played pretty much most of last season. He got injured and he's been out and only just returning. So it's been a real mixed bag, I'll be honest with you. It really has. I've always said it, going back to back to win Premier League titles is extremely difficult. Only one team have done it in the modern era, and that's Manchester United. So it's very difficult. 198 points over 2 seasons takes an awful lot physically and mentally out of a team. I think many haven't had huge amounts of rest in recent years, and I think it's starting to show this season. And obviously we've got players that are coming to the end of their careers. We obviously lost Vincent Kompany, who left at the end of his Manchester City career, and he's been a massive loss, not just on the pitch, but that leadership. One of the best leaders we've seen in the Premier League, captains of clubs. We've missed it. I'm sure we've missed him around the training pitch, the dressing room, the club in general. So we've missed that leadership in general, not just on the pitch. We've got David Silva coming into his final year. He's starting to show a little bit of his age is catching up to him. Fernandinho's 34. We've got Sergio Aguero, who will he stay for his final year of his contract? Will he go? So I think we're really, this season, we should have replaced maybe a centre-back, and we didn't. The fact of Otamendi stayed, sort of like threw everything up in the air. We were interested in Maguire, but City were not going to pay that type of money. Once Otamendi decided that he wanted to stay, so I think it's this is going to have to be a transitional year, and I think Pep Guardiola will make some massive changes, if not in January, definitely in the summer. On to your second question then. Has there been an effect of losing Mikel Arteta? Don't know yet. It's too early to say, I'll be honest with you. Pep, I think, wanted him to stay. I think the players really, really liked him. Pep loved having him as his number two. But, at the end of the day, Pep is not one of those managers that is going to keep people at the club. If something, comes up and their ambitions can be met, Arteta, I think, wanted to go. Was it the right move? I think only time will tell. He's definitely a very intelligent, bright individual. Whether he's big enough to manage the problems at Arsenal, I'm not too sure. We wish him all the very best. That there's nothing City can do. As for missing him, like I said, he only left. He only left a few games ago, so it's very difficult to say whether we're missing him or not. Will we miss him? I think probably next season will give us more of a clue after the summer transfer window. But we wish him all the best, and there's not a lot City can do about it. But he's got Barrel as his number two now. Will Dominic Torrent come back and into the fold? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe somebody else will. Will Vinny come back in the summer? Maybe as an assistant coach to Pep Guardiola. We'll wait and see. But I would like to say, we wish him all the very best, and hope it works out for him. Anyway, question number 3 is: which Everton player do you fear? Well, I was really, really looking forward to this season to see Moise Kean, and it just for whatever reason hasn't worked out. Now, will Ancelotti, he's brought him back in the team. Will Ancelotti get a tune out of him? Because I think he's an exceptional talent. We haven't seen it yet, but he's a very, very dangerous player. Obviously, we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who was suddenly now scored in both games for Carlo Ancelotti. Dangerous player on his day. But for me, I think Moise Kean is could be a dark horse. He could be somebody who might go to the end of the season and go on a really, really good run, and maybe bag you sort of 10, 12 goals between now and the end of the season. So I'm going to be interested to see if he does play, and 2, see how he does for Everton in the remaining part of the 2019-2020 season. Your fourth question is realistic goals for this season. Now, well, I think most City fans, even though it's not mathematically over, I think most City fans realise that the Premier League is beyond us now. You can't go through a season losing 5 games, certainly up to the point of the end of December, and go on to win a league when you've got the likes of Liverpool who have not lost this season so far. So, as gutting as it is, I think we have to be realistic and say that the Premier League is probably a step too far for this particular season. But we are in the Champions League. We've got Real Madrid in the next round, so that should be an interesting game. They're not the team that they were, still a very, very dangerous team, but maybe Pep will go all out. I think top 4 is all. I hate saying it, but I think we're guaranteed to be in the top 4. I think there are too many teams around 4th, 5th, 6th who are inconsistent, even though we have been a little bit of late. But I think the top 4 should be comfortable for us this season. So maybe Pep will go all out for the Champions League. We're still in the Carabao Cup. We've got United, and we're still in the FA Cup. We've got Port Vale. So, at the end of the day, we could quite easily win a double this season, which any other season you go, that's pretty decent. We could win a treble. We could win a double, which is a Champions League and a domestic cup, which would be a fantastic season. So, I think it's difficult because what we're doing is we're comparing it to 1, the Centurion season, and 2, last year being the Formidables. So winning, and obviously winning every domestic cup competition, which has never been done before. Yeah, I don't know. I think if we won 2 cup competitions, 2 of the 3 remaining for us, if in all honesty, I think it'll still be a successful season if we qualify for the Champions League next year, which I think we definitely will do. So that's my thoughts on it. You know, onwards and upwards. We can't, as City fans, expect to win the Premier League every single season. And I think a rebuild's coming in the summer, and we'll go again next year. And your final question is score prediction. Well, if I'm the worst I'm the worst person for predicting scores on games, but I've gone for Man City 4, Everton 2. I've gone for a high scoring game. We're at home, and we're just starting to hit a little bit of form. And we scored a couple of goals against Sheffield United, 3 against Leicester, 3 against Arsenal. So we can score goals. It's just the other end, and can we keep a clean sheet? Can we be defensively sound? Depends how Everton turn up, or which Everton turn up on the day. You've had a couple of wins now under Ancelotti, but I still think it could be one of those New Year's Day bonanzas where a load of goals. But I've gone for a wild guess: Man City 4, Everton 2, and let's hope it's an entertaining game for the fans. That takes us into the new decade, starting in 2020. So, guys, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. I want to say again a massive thank you to Cameron from the Mighty Blues Everton fan channel. Go and follow him on YouTube, and also follow him on Twitter. All the links will be in the description below. We'll see you at the Everton game tomorrow, so don't forget, come over at the back of the City store or around the Blue Moon Cafe. We're always there, so come and see me and Martin, have a chat. If you don't want to come on camera, you don't have to. But guys, hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, and listen, enjoy tonight, and a happy New Year from Man City Fan TV.